Do you have any bad client stories that you can share live on the pod?
Yep. I had a client many years ago for a project we did in an inner eastern suburb, and I remember you actually touched on this before we spoke, and I remember sitting across the table from him, like I am here. I had the architect on my right, husband and wife on the other side, and we just literally contract was in front of them. They were just about to sign it, and then it was on to me to sign after them. And they're talking, and they're this and that. I'm like, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, you're fucking weird. Didn't say it out loud. I go, not that they were weird, they were a bit odd as people are concerned, but there was something there that I was like, there's something about you that I don't like. And they turned out to be my worst ever client. Worst ever client. When I say worst ever client, they were getting us to do variation work without any intent to pay. They took adverse possession of the home. So it was a renovation project. So they came in one day, we came to site to keep working. They'd come and change the locks, took possession of the home, and then said, we're not paying you, get stuffed. So we took them all the way to county court. We went the whole way and ended up going to mediation before court. And we ended up just parting ways. But you know, it was a good lesson for me to learn from a perspective of I've never been to court before, or I'd never gone through that legal process before. So it was a good lesson to learn in that regard and how that worked and what it meant. There was, at the end of the day, I also learned that you don't, unless you're chasing huge dollars, it's not worth going down that path.
Dude, it
becomes cost neutral. That's right. And my barrister, my solicitor said that. He goes, look, unless you're chasing a couple $100K, he goes, it just becomes ego at the end of the day. It becomes ego if you have enough money to say, no, fuck them. We're going to go the whole way. I don't care what this costs go. And it was just really interesting. Like I'm grateful for the experience because it also taught me that like after that project, I updated my T's and C's in my contracts. I made more effort to help the client understand that I was doing business with us. Hey, this is how the process works. This is what it means. These are our payment terms. This is how we're going to help look after your job. So there's a whole range of good things that came out of that. And that made me a lot of money, even though at the time they didn't pay their final invoice. In the long term, it's made me a lot of money. It's given me opportunities that, man, I can't even quantify. I do Builder Elite. I coach builders all across the country, made hundreds of thousands. Over the course of Builder Elite being in operation, it would have made over $1 million. It would have made over $1 million in revenue, at least over the last 3 years, 4 years, whatever it's been. So, I mean, that's a great stat for a business that's a consulting business, like doesn't have the value of what the homes I'm building.
No, but it also doesn't have the outlay.
No, that's right.
Or the overheads.
Yeah, correct. But what I'm getting at is I never would have been in a position to do something like that if I didn't have that life experience, if I didn't have that business experience and that life experience. So, you know, this person was coming on site without approval, walking around, taking photos. There was a time when we'd partly demolished part of the building and he was just walking around looking at everything. And I'm like, dude, we have literally evacuated the site because that chimney is about to fall down and you're just walking around willy-nilly. And that could have fallen on you. And then I would be going to WorkSafe saying, them saying, where's the form that you sent him that said not to go to site? I'm like, are you serious? Things like that. So I remember at the time he did that, I sent him a breach notice. That was the first breach notice I've ever sent a client. And this is at the time when I liked him, as in when there was no bad blood. He was the first person I've ever sent a breach notice in the contract. I said, if you go to site again, like we're going to terminate contracts. You cannot come to site without doing that. He's the first person that's ever gotten in my face in the sense of we're on site once and he got in my face. And I actually said to him, I said, mate, you better step the fuck back. Okay, because my next, you step up to me again like that, I'm going to knock you the fuck out. I'm not a violent person. I'm not a person that's ever escalated anything, but at that moment in time, it was during COVID as well, so pressure and stress is high. He actually stepped up to me and, finger in my face. I said, mate, you put your finger in my face one more time, I'm going to fucking break it. And then he left site and we didn't really speak again after that. I said, all future communication, you go through your fucking solicitor. You don't fucking talk to me anymore. And that's what happened after that. So that was the last time I spoke to him post that. But, that again was probably the most challenging situation I've ever been in. Never felt like that before in business. Never seen someone act like that. I just thought, what an odd human being, to do that in that instance. But again, like, let's sit back and look at it from a bird's eye view. During COVID, he's probably stressed. His project's delayed, which it was. Yeah,
no shit. I think every fucking COVID
6 months. It was at least 6 months late.
Pretty sure I had someone tell me recently they've still got a COVID contract, and I was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Dude, COVID was like
funny.
6 years ago."
Yeah. So look, there's an element of going, well, he was going through a really stressful time too, and he couldn't articulate, he couldn't handle his emotions, and he was taking it out on the one person that he could, which was me, or the company going through there. Yeah. So it doesn't make what his actions right, but there's a contributing factor to it. I'm very sure it was his family home.
Yeah, but so where do you draw the line there?
Like, you draw the line with the disrespect. Like, for me, the lesson I had there is that I should have terminated that contract before it even got to the final stage. That's what should have happened. Now, the way I would have done that is by sending the notices when the notices needed to be sent. Whereas I never did that. It was always like, no, let's just get through it. Let's get this stage. He was always late with payments. Like, the day it was late, I should have sent the notice. You're late. We're stopping work on site. Here's your cost per day. And when he doesn't pay that and doesn't respond in the appropriate time, we say, cool, here's your second notice. Here's your termination letter. Go find another builder. And just walked away. And that would have been cheaper for me than going the whole way.
Yeah, well, hindsight's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
But if I do it again, then again, that's my fault. Like, I should have done that. The thing is, I find with most builders, myself included, we're always trying to do the right thing by everyone. Like, get to the next stage. Come on, all right, come on, do it. Release the payment now. I'll get this done. And they're like, no, I'm not paying for that. I'm not paying for that. And it's like you're just in that vicious cycle until you get to the very end, and all of a sudden it's $200,000-$300,000 you're owed, or $100,000 or $50,000. It's a lot of money for someone. And that's what you got to look at the end of the day. That's where it has to lie, and you just got to follow the process and trust the process. So if I ever have another bad client again, which I hope not to, and I don't, I've got great clients now. So I need to put the disclaimer out there. I don't have any bad clients now. I've got amazing clients now, but I've only got amazing clients now because of me going through the shit before. So I keep them in check. I'll keep them accountable. Say, listen, we've agreed that you're going to do X, Y, Z. If you don't do that, I can't do my job properly. If I can't do my job properly, it delays the project. There's costs incurred. There's a whole range of things, delays, whatever it might be. So as long as you follow the process when it comes to that point, I think everyone's okay then. I think there's more control on it, and you just have more recourse to push back and say, no, you know the T's and C's, you know what we agreed to. You're not doing your end of the bargain. On that basis, we're not going to continue on site. Let's just go our separate ways. Maybe that's the conversation you have to have sometimes. So, hey, how about I get you to frame stage, and I can recommend a few builders if you want to come in and finish off your project. We're obviously not seeing eye to eye. Let's just be adults about this. I still want to give you a quality home. I still want you to get into your house, blah, blah, blah. We'll still give you all your certificates, all your compliance that we need for this particular stage. And then how about you finish it? Maybe you can do it owner builder, because you clearly know more than what I do. Maybe you can go do it owner builder and finish that job yourself.
So
perhaps
yeah. So you said when you signed with this guy, the day of the contract signing,
yeah,
you looked at him and you knew. I'm assuming you didn't tell him.
No, of course not.
But you knew.
I didn't know, because again, I'm happy during contract signing too. That's when we make money, when we sign a contract. And but it was still something there. Like, I'm looking back.
That hunch.
I had the hunch. I had something there, and that hunch paid off in the future. Because during COVID as well, we won at the time the biggest project we'd ever tendered. It was I'm going to say it was close to 10 mil. It was like $9.5 million project. And I tendered on it. It was, I think it was 10, or I think it was like 13 townhouses in Heidelberg. And we won the project. Shook the hands, contract sent, everything ready to go. And it was over the Christmas break, and then they came back to me and they go, George, we sent you the contract, blah, blah, blah. I read through the contract and I was like, this is, again, during COVID. It was during the time when we just got out of a lockdown and we thought things were going to be good again. That's before the really long lockdown.
Yeah.
So it was at that point. And that's when I got the contract. And in that contract, it had clauses like, we couldn't claim for delays as a result of COVID. We couldn't claim for material increases as a result of COVID, a whole range of things that we never really discussed, but they sort of crept them in. And this is before the time of AI, that I could just chuck it in there and say, hey, what's my exposure? And then I was looking at that. I'm like, there's something not right here. I don't like where this is going. And I was looking at everything and so on and so forth. And I ended up calling the guy up in January or February of that year, this developer. And I said, listen, we had just won another big project, like a single home. And look, I've thought about it. Our position's changed since November last year when you awarded us this project, or December last year. And I don't think we can continue with it on the basis that our focus is going to be more so on the single dwellings, the large homes. And I think this townhouse development isn't going to be suited for our business model at the moment. And I reckon we just go our separate ways. I thank you for the opportunity. I hope that we cross paths in the future. Wish you all the best. And look, it was between me and another builder. So you went with the other builder. But what happened, I went on my gut. Like, don't forget, I was going to make good money. I was going to make over $1 million on that job. So I had good coin on it, but I went with my gut. After that, we couldn't get any timber. All right, we could not get timber. That's when the timber shortage started, where we couldn't get any timber coming into the country. Then everyone went to light gauge steel. Light gauge steel went through the roof. It ended up being 30-40% more expensive than timber. My supervisor that I was going to put on that job quit because he had mental breakdown or mental health issues. So he quit. So the guy I was going to put on there quit. And then the industry that's when we had all these massive delays and issues across the jobs. And the lockdowns, 5 people imagine building 20 townhouses with 5 people allowed on site. It's impossible. You can't do it. Just cannot be done. And I would have been left holding the ball with material increased costs. I would have been holding the ball with the time issues, the costs and constraints with that. Now, would that developer have been sympathetic and helped me out? Maybe. Who knows?
Probably not. If it's in his contract?
Probably not.
Yeah.
So I look back at that and go, I'm so glad that I followed my gut and I didn't go down that path. And I look back going, if we took on that project, there's a good possibility I wouldn't be trading as Pascom. You know, I'd be doing something else.
Be selling pizzas.
Be selling pizzas. Now, I mean, you brought it up before the podcast, but following your gut, how do you follow your gut? What is it? Is it just you feel weird and you just listen to it and you go, okay, we're not going to do business? Well, because there's got to be some more, I'm a logical person. I want to know, I don't want to just think, oh, the room didn't feel right when I walked in, so I walked away.
You don't walk into the room and sit there like, 1 second, I'm an Aquarius. Yeah. Let me just, I can tell, I can fit the moon position right now.
That's right.
Allows me to feel what's happening in the room. And you don't do that?
Nah, don't do that.
If you like that clip and you want to watch another one, click just over here. And if you want to watch the full episode, click just over here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.